On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Oh my gosh, so much going on today. First off, Epstein files released. Oh, that's a big goose egg. We're going to talk about that, but expected, and there's stuff, and there's all sorts of people going back and forth on this. I'll try my best to sort of, give the spin of what I'm hearing kind of from both sides, and maybe throw my 2 cents in. The spanking or ass whooping that Zelensky got from Trump and J.D. Vance was priceless. I'm only going to play that part. I was tempted to play the whole 10.5-minute exchange between them, but then I also have a clip of a brilliant question being asked to him that wasn't even part of the original 10 minutes. So I'm going to kind of just do the small clips and then let that stand. There is the full interview. I think the clip kind of explains what went on for a while. Basically, Zelensky started to complain and really talk about how he didn't think America was a good friend right now, basically, and that's what turned into the clip that we'll be watching. It was magnificent. A lot to talk about, some investigations going on, Thomas Massie being an idiot again, I'm just saying. Also got an awesome music show going on today, inspired by Neil Young, sorry. I just doing that earlier in my head, too. It's kind of funny. Neil Young, kind of almost a continuation of last week, except I had a little groovier music this time, a little less rocky, a little more kind of, groovy, but still going to be a lot of fun. And then I've already kind of got an idea where I'm going next week, and it's I think we're going to be kind of pushing towards, I want to say late 70s, early 80s. Should be kind of fun. Anyway, I'm just having fun on the genre right now. I think I kind of missed the music. Whatever the case is, we're going to have a great live show. Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Do a live show. It's usually about an hour long. If you guys want to join, it's always a lot of fun. We've got a really, really cool community. If not, just good music, and you can listen to that anytime you want. That's for sure. So hopefully you guys will be a part of that. All right, got some things to talk about. Just right off the bat, I thought this one was funny. This is hysterical, actually. So mystery solved. The actual lyrics to Pearl Jam's Yellow Ledbetter. Now, if you've much of a Pearl Jam fan, you'll appreciate this immediately. Pay attention to the people's names as he's singing the song, and you'll totally appreciate how freaking funny this is. It's only like 30 seconds or whatever. Very funny. This is kind of one of those things you have to watch, unfortunately. But if not, you'll just listen to 30 seconds of a bitchin' song. You won't know why it's so fun. I'm sorry. I saw that. I started laughing so damn hard. I love that song. I love Pearl Jam, so that was extra funny. All right, everybody's talking about this, quote, alignment tonight. It's not an alignment. Just want to kind of, and it's a semantics thing. A lot of people consider it alignment because in the night sky, you will see all of the planets in the sky kind of at once. They are not really aligned with Earth, so this idea of any sort of gravitics or anything like that doesn't really work. Real short little bit here about my wonderful friend. Well, he's not my friend. I'd love to meet Ben. But Space Weather News is what he's calling his channel now, formerly Suspicious Observers. Love this dude. I've been talking about him forever. You guys should hopefully be subscribed to him. Does a video every day, 3 minutes, up really early. Great guy.
Folks, there are a lot of articles out there discussing a planetary alignment tonight. Let's be clear. There are 0 planets aligned right now. What's happening tonight is that nearly all will be visible just after sunset. This is super cool and super rare. It's not an alignment. In fact, to see them scattered across the sky like that means they are all over the map, which you can see here on Planets Today. Even not to scale, you can see there are no alignments. And by the way, when there are,
so again, that's what he's talking about. And then here's Earth, right? We've got Mars off over here, but we've got all these stuff is going to be in view. That's why everyone's calling it alignment. Just wanted to cover that, call it what it is. It's just semantics in a lot of cases, but also there's many people that I think that have like this actual thought that they're all lined up, and no, not even close, not even sort of like that. All right, we're going to go into the Zelensky thing, if any of you guys were wondering about that. Also, it's rare that I actually post a video or post anything that I'm going to be covering on my show before I cover it on my show. But I saw this one and I'm like, holy crap, that real Donald Trump just spanked Zelensky. This was incredible. And I want you guys to enjoy it. But first, we're going to walk through it in kind of a fun way. And this is when he gets there. So Trump's out there. He's meeting him. He's being very nice. And by the way, if you'll notice, Zelensky dressed up. Yes, he dressed up. His sweatshirt thing now has like 5 buttons on it. It's huge.
President Trump, put your message to Vladimir Putin, sir. President Trump, do you have a message for Vladimir Putin as you meet with President Zelensky today?
All right, I'm going to learn numbers, I think, next week. Not just yet. Apparently that was 3 buttons. Sorry. 3 good buttons. Yeah, whatever the case is. We've got more, though. It gets better. Trump says the United States will use Ukraine's rare earths. I don't know if this was before the fight or after. I should have watched the whole 10-minute thing because this might have been in there. But who cares? We're starting here because then once the fight happens, I felt like that had to have changed things a wee bit.
It was something that just worked out.
With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, taking it, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it was something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
You almost got to wonder if he said raw earth 17 times. I feel like he did. Felt like it. But he kept saying raw earth. Most of the time we talk about rare earth. He's talking about raw earth, which I think is pre-processing would be my guess. Just I'm probably not too far off on that one. And I did talk about the different elements or different resources that they actually do have. They have a lot of oil, a lot of gas, iron ore, coal, a bunch of. They also have titanium and uranium. Now, all of those would be things that they have in large quantities. They do supposedly have a lithium mine, although that is very close to Russia's control area right now. Last I had heard, and this was days ago, a couple days ago at least, Russia was within a few miles of this thing, and they'd been creeping up on it because they wanted to get their hands on the lithium, apparently. So, whatever. But he's talking raw earth. We're probably going to process it here or build processing plants there, hopefully. That would almost make more sense as long as maybe they're American plants. But we'll see, again, how things continue to play out. Now, here is where the little moment happens. And frankly, I know the audio kind of sucks a little bit, but I don't want to ruin this. Just, check this out. This has quite possibly never happened before, at least in a public setting. And this was where I think Zelensky thought he was going to try to control the argument. And, well, yeah, it went how you would hope, knowing who Trump is and J.D. Vance. And they tag teamed the mofo. It was freaking awesome.
Even today. You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, do you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I answer?
No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks in this cabinet, and not only in this cabinet.
We gave you, through the stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
you invited me
if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again, just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this story so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there, your people are dying,
tell you
you're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't
you're
please,
running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
Then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting
Of
killed.
course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire.
guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was
This
with
is your
Obama.
president, it was your president.
Excuse me, that was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is, Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You gotta be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to my Victor.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are at with that, but wow was where I was at. Funniest damn question. This guy gets the funniest damn question award. Unquestionably, just to help, it'll be this guy over here in the blue asking this douchehole a funny ass question. Check it out.
Second
And
question.
my second question for President Zelensky. Do you ever, why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you, do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I don't
the
have
dignity of
such.
this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something
maybe
like this.
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah. Thank you. Thank you for.
Wow, real quick on his feet, wasn't he? I might get something like that. Maybe nicer, maybe cheaper. Whoa, no! You didn't just say that to me. Them's fighting words. Huh? What the? So, I don't think he did well winning over the American people. Now, you gotta, again, go with the, let's just call it the adage that this is a movie. Why did that scene play out before the public? Why did President Trump, or why did the movie makers want this to be in front of our face? All the people that are so supportive of Ukraine, I'll give Ukraine, I changed my homepage to the Ukrainian flag. And yet here we are feeling stupid about ourselves, aren't we? Just hypothetically, if you were one of those people. Not me. But, funny, weird story. It's not funny, it's sad. And so first off, just to couch all of this, because I don't ever believe stories, especially when they come from NBC, right? So just right off the bat, I instantly go, okay, they're giving us factual information with a picture. There's dead birds. Dead bird. Put your finger on it. Anyway, they are washing up on shore in a city. Oh, let's see if I can pronounce it properly. I had to look it up, and I might have already forgotten. Petchogue. Petchogue? I think it was. Oh, shucks. I'm so horrible when it comes to remember. I'm like, I watch it, and then I forget what the hell it's supposed to be. Petchogue, I think it is. Something like that, whatever. They had some dead birds wash up. Now, first and foremost, geese and ducks are really what seems to be carrying this avian flu. Not chickens. They don't actually notice it in chickens unless the chickens have been in proximity with some weird geese and ducks that, are doing intravenous drugs or whatever the hell those geese and ducks are doing. Causing problems, obviously. These geese and ducks died. First thing I said, because they wanted to turn it into, it seems like they've got avian flu. That was what the experts were saying. It's got avian flu. 3 dead birds wash up. They must have the flu, all right? So I saw 3 seagulls that got sick, apparently. I got a count of 11 ducks. They're out there counting ducks. MR ducks. MR not ducks. So anyway, all that said, all we got, they went extrapolating off to how this is horrific and there's thousands of fowl dying everywhere. And what I found interesting, first thing I did is I'm like, is there any offshore wind with this Petchogue place, right? Petchog, whatever. Yeah, I don't remember. I wish I did, but I don't. Yeah, so offshore, they do, in fact, have offshore wind stuff. So, just hypothetically speaking, duck, whap, thud, right down into the water, dead. I don't know, just a thought. Like I said, I don't trust NBC. Maybe it's actually avian flu. They've got a measles outbreak. I think I bring it up a little later in the show. It's funny, and there's the cities that are having the outbreak. All but one of the areas. One of them's kind of funny, but it's only one person. So all of them, though, are sanctuary cities. So again, the measles, and then they talk about how it's because the vaccines have been reduced. And they're saying the vaccines have been reduced because they're blaming people like you and I, because they like to call us anti-vaxxers, right? So they blame the fact that there's a reduction in the number of people, the total number of people. The reduction of vaccinated is so small compared to what it was. And the reason that is because there's millions of people that have come from other countries recently that aren't vaccinated. Guess who's got the measles? Guess where that's showing up? Right. Now, measles is viral, so obviously I'm going to put it with my wonderful company, TWC, the wellness company. Just saying, guys, great way to stop that virus crap. So anyways, I don't know. Maybe they got whacked down with the old propellers off sea, or maybe they've got the bird flu and they were flying and they're like, and then just died, all three of them together. Oh, I'm dying with you, Johnny. Of course. It was a beautiful story. So this is weird. Okay, U.S. President Donald Trump, he signed an executive order extending for another year certain sanctions against Russia. So he says all this long stuff. He goes, the actions and policies addressed in these executive orders continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States. And then therefore, I am continuing 1 year the emergency declaration of Executive Order 13660. Now, he lists off a bunch of stuff. So he goes, the National Emergency Declaration Executive Order 13660, which expanded the scope of Executive Order 13661, Executive Order 13662, and 14065, and under additional steps were taken in Executive Order 13685 and Executive Orders 13849 must continue in effect beyond March. So I pulled all those up. Not a whole lot of excitement in there. First off, Barack Obama signed the first one that they talk about, 13660. This is the one that got extended. He started this thing back in March 6, 2014. He was already pissed off at, the Russians, but that actually gets spun into all the additional stuff. This kind of, I don't know, I didn't read the whole, I read into it, and this section I thought was interesting. And it said, Section 1, and this is really what this has to do with, right? All the property and interest. So it's all property and interest in property that are in the United States, that hereafter come within the United States, or that are, or hereafter come within the possession or control of the United States person, blah, blah, blah. If they got something, paid, exported, withdrawn, otherwise, any person determined by the Secretary of Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State, and then colon. So this is all the little things that are what define that. It's horrible reading this crap, but we're not going to read it all, thank God. Because Section I, just this first part here, says to be responsible for or complicit in or have engaged in, directly or indirectly, any of the following. Now this I thought was very key, very interesting. It seemed awfully broad to me, in a good way, I think. A, actions or policies that undermine democratic processes or institutions in the Ukraine. Well, we know they had a switch in government. So, right there, that makes me think all that Yattenyuk crap and what happened to get Zelensky in there and what Biden and them were doing and getting the investigation stopped. That, to me, seems interesting. Like, Trump is expanding this or extending this because we've got Americans that fall into this. Second one, actions or policies that threaten the peace, security, stability, sovereignty, or territorial integrity of Ukraine. See, this one made me think of McCain. And, I don't know if you guys remember, every time McCain would show up in Ukraine, guess who was with him? Yeah, Lindsey Graham. So Graham is apparently not quite as bad as McCain because to my understanding, and I think Juan O'Savin even kind of hinted at this. I was actually checked out one of his shows, been a while. And he talked about how there's an individual that's been off, where he was talking about how a lot of people keep making claims that, Hillary Clinton's been killed, hung it, and Gitmo and all this, right? And all these different people have apparently been killed. And then they follow up with, they've got clones out there now because that's how they stay alive. And it's like, all right, whatever. So Juan was saying, nah, it's just like one person basically got offed. And other than that, no. Now, the dude, I think that was engaging with him, thought he was talking about Hillary Clinton. I instantly said McCain, and I'm pretty sure he was talking about McCain. He didn't clarify. He didn't do anything, which is what Juan should have done. He shouldn't have. Let you put out the piece of truth that you have to, and then you let them just run with it because, you don't have to really. There's no karma past that. And I think it's interesting where he does tell things and when he dances around it. But whatever the case was, it was an interesting piece of information. So that made me think of Lindsey Graham because he's still around and he's been out there in those photos many a time. Also, misappropriation of state assets of Ukraine or of an economically significant entity in Ukraine. So state assets of Ukraine, I don't know, somehow maybe getting involved with any of the laundering or weird stuff that was going on, or money that was paid. Oh, this is actually it. It just hit me. Like, say the money that was paid to somebody within the Ukraine, but then they gave some of that kickback to Joe Biden, for example. Well, that would be a misappropriation of Ukraine's state assets to somebody else. That would be inappropriate. I think he extended this for that reason. Now, all the other stuff, Executive Order 13661, we're not going to spend as much time on all these, but I just wanted to show that we pulled them up. This seems to have to do with property and all that kind of stuff, very specifically around Russia, the Russian Federation, Russian people. And most of them, that's where they go. So that's what I thought was very interesting because they all expand 13660, but they're very specific because now they're going after Russia specifically. Now, again, this was Obama that did all this. This was Obama, March 16, 2014. This is way before Russia ever went in, way before Biden was ever president. We're dicking with Russia always. Big part of why all this happened. 13662, more of the same. There was one section I highlighted here. It's still, again, Russian property specifically, but it says Section 2, I hereby find that the unrestricted immigrant and non-immigrant entry into the United States of aliens determined to meet one or more of the criteria in Section 1A of this order would be detrimental to the interest of the United States, and I hereby suspend entry into the United States as immigrants or non-immigrants of such persons. Now, Section 1A was, let's see, all property interests. It kind of left it open to all foreign people. Oh, here's 1I, but I think it said 1A specifically. Anywho, it seems to kind of keep it open for the idea of any immigrant that might be here to do harm. There might be some reading on that. Again, who knows? That was 13662, I believe. 13685, again, more of Ukraine stuff. This was, new investment in the Crimea region. So this has to do with a lot of the investing, which I think is where Trump's going with the mineral rights stuff. I think he's extending this for that reason, so he can use that kind of partnership that's already been baked in as a means of essentially partnering with Ukraine to help rebuild them, which Trump would be very good at, and who knows, his companies and whatnot might benefit from it, which would be great. Probably be a new Trump Tower. But he's not in charge of that company right now. We also have Executive Order 14065, blocking property of certain persons and prohibiting certain transactions with respect to continued Russian efforts to undermine the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Ukraine. This stuff reads like you want to take a nap. But this talked about the DNR, what's that, the Donetsk region or whatever, and the... I forgot what the L was. Because I don't think that's... Is that liquid? No, it's not liquid natural gas, because that'd be LNG, right? So I don't know. I think there's those regions, those Donetsk and all that stuff over there. All said, there's just investments, more money. I think, again, Trump trying to move money into that area. And I actually think that was one of... that was the one Joe Biden did, because he was going to try to invest like DEI shit. Trump had... No, Trump, I was wrong about that, because, Trump did not have one. I actually flipped the numbers. I think it was this guy. I flipped the numbers. I did 865 instead of 685. And I was like, why did Trump? This has nothing to do with it. Anyway, it was kind of funny how all that played out. And then this was the final one. This one was by Trump. An Executive Order 13849, which was brought up in there as well. The one part that I really pull out is prohibit any United States financial institution from making loans or providing credits to the sanctioned person totaling more than $10 million in any 12-month period unless the person is engaged in activities to relieving human suffering and the loans and credits provided for such activities. I believe some of the numbers that people have talked about, I don't know why 15 keeps popping out in my head, but I think this has to do with a lot of the people being bought off, or at least larger chunks of money going places and then trying to figure out where that's going, because it isn't supposed to happen. And if it does, it needs to be reported. And there might be some stuff where it's not being reported. And many people, I'm guessing, I'm just throwing some stuff at you guys, that Lindsey Graham might be making more than $10 million on some of these deals that are getting moved around. And again, they want to be able to follow the money trails. And I think certain people are going to get caught up in this because 10 million's a lot, yes. And I think that's literally kind of the point almost. Is like, yeah, we're setting a dragnet that's stupid high. Let's see who we catch in that. And I have a funny feeling Lindsey Graham's going to show up on that list. We'll see when that day comes. Would be Trump. And by the way, it's going to be awesome when we take down some of our own people. It's going to look very righteous to the other side because they've never done that, ever. They've never taken down one of their own people, ever. Ever. So it's fun being morally in a better place. You're just like, we just got rid of one of our own because he was a pile of trash. You guys know you've never, ever. So please talk to the hand because the face doesn't want to hear it, right? Would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks may have had accomplice, data shows. Really long article. Nothing amazing comes out of it other than the fact that there's an investigation. They're going to try to get more of the information. There's definitely been a holding back of stuff. We're 100% sure they know way more than what they have allowed, even Bondi or Cash even at this point, I think, to see. They've hid a lot of the information around Crooks. A lot of people that are speaking up for him, that's one of the things this article does an enormous amount of, is all sorts of friends, family, and everybody under the sun that just says, this dude was a great kid. And what they trip on is within an 18-month period, roughly, he went from like this dude that everybody loved. He helped all of his friends. He was super brilliant, which makes sense. And it went into, he kind of went crazy. But everyone's also saying there's no way he was working alone. It's impossible. Impossible. In fact, they're sure of it. Now, part of me still, of course, wondering if he was kind of like the patsy, like, it makes me think of Oswald, because Oswald probably didn't hit anything that he tried. Even at 150 yards, this kid might not have, even though it's extraordinarily close with a weapon like that. It's not necessarily the preferred choice of weapon, but the rate of fire is pretty impressive, and it's not that far. I had somebody try to tell me, there's like, no, it's a stupid weapon. I'm like, 150 yards? This thing shoots pretty good, man. I don't think so. It's not, like I said, it's not a sniper rifle, but you can shoot, You can go faster than that even for that matter. You can shoot the crap out of it. So 8 rounds possibly, yes. Still wonder if there was someone on the water tower. That would have been a much longer shot, but it's downhill at least, if you will, which helps. So, I don't know. Not like I'm an expert by any means. I love shooting, but hell, I didn't even know the gun I had. Pisses me off. Alpha's like, 220 or 3, whatever the hell that one is. SIG. It's a great gun, but I thought I had 17 or 18. It's, whatever. I'm just an idiot sometimes, folks. It's harder for me to live with than maybe it is for you to accept, I bet. I'm just going to say. Also, this is an interesting article, and yeah. We don't know shit. Nothing's going to come from it. Oh, it also talked about, who's the Louisiana senator guy? This dude. He disagrees, of course, with all the stuff that says there's multiple shooters. He thinks it was just one shooter, and I don't know. I mean, I like Clay Higgins. I think he's a good guy. I think he's not necessarily correct. I also don't think he's gotten his hands on really, really solid information. But from what he's been able to ascertain, he believes that Crooks was a lone assassin. Oh, the water tower's not quite as far as I thought, but yeah, the angle didn't work. That was the one thing I kind of had a problem with, because Trump looking at the screen was right here. Yeah, it actually does kind of square him off against that, doesn't it? Yeah, it almost makes more sense than him. I think the shooter was possibly on the water tower. Whatever the case is, they didn't fly a drone or anything. We know all that. So there's all sorts of shit. I think they're going to try to dig into it. I think Cash Patel and all them are going to try to get us some of those answers. And hopefully that occurs. That's really all we can do at this point. We're going to keep making noise about it. One thing I like making noise about is this company, Pet Club 247. They are just awesome. First off, just a really sweet husband and wife couple, and then some really cool people that work there that I've had the opportunity to get to know. The mushroom ladies, specifically. That was pretty cool. They were surprisingly knowledgeable on how this affects your immune system. I got to couch my words carefully because it's just the way the game's played. But I had Baby Trump on my show a few years back. And this is right after he got out of his cancer stuff. And this was what he used. He took a whole crap ton of this. And, a lot of prayer and stuff like that, he says. But he took a whole bunch of this. And his tumor, as he says, went away. There's been all sorts of people that have talked about animals that had tumors, people that have had tumors, and that have actually just taken some hearty doses of this. Now, what this is that I keep referring to is this mushroom. It's called Coriolus versicolor. It's immune support on steroids, really. It helps pets, by the way, people. It helps. And it seems to be something that you can't really take too much of. And whatever the case is, I want to say it's probably got kind of an antiviral sort of thing going, or antiparasitic, the way it plays out, the way we understand things more nowadays. So again, it's one of those really, really good ways to get good quantities of stuff in your body easily. And you know you're putting dosages in there that are actually going to make a difference. So what's powerful about this is when you go to look for products. So you're going to go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. You're going to hit the shop tab. Now there's up here, you got all sorts of stuff. You got packs and cool other stuff. It's fantastic, which I don't even have looked at others in a while. But you got humans, horses, cats, dogs. So if you're looking to help one of your pets, highly recommend you go to your cats or dogs section. Dogs, typically, easy way to get started is the mush puppies. It's like a cookie. They dig it. It's got that Coriolus versicolor in it, and that helps. If you're sitting with an animal that maybe needs additional amounts of it in their system, there's a special sauce. There's foods that you can buy. There's little treats you can buy. When you're on dogs. Foods, treats. They've got all sorts of great stuff. Also, just keep in mind stuff like the toys they have. A lot of times we get them toys, balls, and all that stuff that are made in China. They have lead and stuff like that in a lot of those products. So they also offer some toys. If you like dogs, they love sticks. Doesn't matter. They love a stick. As long as it's not huge, they're going to break doors when they run through it. And what's cool about antler sticks is when they sit there and chew on it, which they're going to do, one, they're grinding down their teeth, which is healthy and that's why you've got stuff like this. And two, they're grinding off that mineral, that calcium, and they're eating it. So it's helping them. So it's a toy with benefits, which, friends were like that. It'd be fantastic. Anyways, mutt mints. They got nasty breath, chill doggies. They got it all. They've got balm, pet balm. They do this for the horses, dogs, cats, paws and noses. And, the older dogs, they can't get that hot, that top part of their nose there. It gets all crunchy looking. Dude, put some of that pet balm on there. Your dog's going to be like, whoa, where's this been my whole life? I've been trying to lick that with my stupid tongue, but it's tired. It's tired, people. Cats do the mojos. It's like a liver treat. Dogs have it too, but they got a nipster thing with a rope that probably has no chemicals, and they've got food as well. So again, good stuff to keep in mind. And then horses, they got the mush ponies in large quantities, and humans got a whole bunch of stuff. So check it out. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. They got the gummies too. They're actually really tasty. It's weird. The gummies, and not in a bad way weird, but just like from a lot of the gummies I eat, they're usually softer. These were like, I don't know. They were nice. They had a really good flavor. They were delicious. I found myself wanting to go back and eat a few of them. So if you're thinking about trying to get extra amounts of that and you kind of like sweets every once in a while, that's why I like gummies. It's like an excuse to eat, like, I'll get some extra vitamins. That's all this is. I'm eating a couple extra, like I got this vitamin C, like chewables. Damn it, they're good. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Did I mention they have chocolate chip cookies that have the Coriolus versicolor in them? Yeah, they got all that. Human tab. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Yes, take that step towards health. Guys, it's a choice. Health is a choice. Focus your mind on health, and health is the direction you're going to go. So when it comes to the Epstein files, I feel like this really explains how I felt. Yeah, that's kind of how it felt to me. Now, Liz Wheeler, she got some flack. I'm going to go ahead and play this. Again, I'm not necessarily promoting her or anything. I don't, whatever. She's getting a lot of flack, and rightly so, by the way, because she kind of makes some claims, which is strange, that ended up kind of not being true, it seems. But whatever. And then I forget the brothers, the twins that get called out. I love those two dudes, and I'm drawing a blank on their name. I watch them every once in a while. But anyway, this was, I don't know, it's worth starting here.
To foreign nationals who, maybe in Britain, who were implicated in this, they are on notice. They are on notice that we're not going to allow the deep state to take out the Trump administration. So, Tim, can you tell me some of these tweets and some of these. Okay. Let me respond to that. So, my producer Tim is reading me some of these tweets. So, Hodge twins quote tweeted my photo from outside the White House and said, "This is embarrassing. Post what's in the binder." Well, we are. There was an embargo on it until a certain time. And again, you should be incredibly angry that this binder does not contain the evidence that implicates Jeffrey Epstein. You should be incredibly angry at the intelligence community that thinks they're not accountable to anybody. They think they work for themselves and that they can do whatever they want. They think that they can thumb their nose and directly defy the FBI director, the Attorney General, and the President of the United States. You should be infuriated by that. But because we are the media, we are solving that problem. All right, so that's my response to that tweet. What else do we have, Tim? Okay, Tony Cannett of the Daily Signal, I don't even know who that is, to be honest, with all due respect, says it was a fun photo shoot of conservative influencers holding a binder. If that's the takeaway from the story, then you are missing the story, and you're missing an incredibly important story. And I'm not interested. I'm not trying to pick a fight or argument or anything. I actually want to engage with these tweets. But if that's what your takeaway is from the story, then you're missing a really big story. A really big story. The really big story is this thousands of pieces of evidence that the SDNY hid. Do you think? Let me ask you this question. Do you think that had that been a headline without this, without the evidence, this is the thing. This is something you can feel. This is tangible. You can open this. You can feel what the paper feels like. You can smell it. This is tangible, physical, concrete evidence that the deep state is lying to you, and that it still exists, and that they're trying to subvert Trump, which means they're trying to subvert you. That's actually incredibly powerful. That's incredibly powerful to hold this in your hand and know that this is the proof that they told Pam Bondi that this was it, and they were lying to her. They were lying to her. So if your takeaway is that it's a photo shoot, like, you're missing the point, to the point that I encourage you not to miss the point, because this is a big one. All right, what's next, Tim? Comments in the live, or you can quote tweet.
Yeah, so I'll edit out that a little bit, because she had a lot of dead air in there, because she was receiving the questions from her producer, and then she would answer them without us having any clue what the hell the question was, or at least from our vantage point. I gotta kind of pull back. I hadn't really listened to this whole thing. I sometimes like to kind of watch it live with you guys, and I watched the very beginning of it, and I was just like, really? This is where you're gonna go with it? All right. But no, I kind of like what she's saying, because I think she's on the right track. We are being lied to, one. Two, I don't know if it's like, again, how much of this is like Trump and them being like, look, we got the goods, we know where they are. And the deep state's kind of like, no, you don't. It's like, we know exactly where they are. We're going to have our hands on them any second. Pam Bondi, she released the declassified stuff, evidence list. I didn't actually pull that up. I pulled everything else up. Let's look at the evidence list. What the hell? So, yeah, a whole lot of evidence. One cellophane containing, Jesus, yeah. So, I don't know. Hopefully people read through this wonderful set of goodness. There's not that much. This is the redacted list of people. So Nick, Adam, you just at least oh, that's cool. At least we got it seems to be, yeah, cool. Okay, so we got names, and this will make sense in a second. This finally made sense to me because I pulled this up after the effect. I'm like, oh yeah, the redacted crap. I got to pull that up. So yeah, all this redacted stuff. So many of you guys are like, what's in the boxes? No idea. No friggin' idea. We just got first names. It looks like. I don't see any of the Tony Blair. There was a name. Tony Blair. David Blaine. All right, we got some names on here. Daniel. So we got some names. That should be interesting. We'll see what we find in the name section. But again, we don't, unfortunately, doesn't, yeah, a little more complex than that. But yeah, we got names. Cool. I'm really glad I pulled this up. A lot of it was initials on the flight logs, which we'll get there in a second. Oh, this is the masseuses, by the way. They got laid out. That's kind of good. Don't fuck with a good masseuse, man. That's not even fair. Good. Whole thing is 100% redacted. We don't need them to be in the mix. Here is where they gave the names of people on the flight logs. These are the actual flight logs. Now, what I found to be just awesome is they're borderline impossible to read. Dell Coleman, maybe. Sal Levy, maybe. We got a whole bunch of small stuff that's hard to read. Now, this one's decent, but they do get worse. A lot of these are hard to read. Above. Yeah, they did multiple trips with the same people. These flight logs weren't real good. They also started getting into the point where they started doing like initials. So I will see. People are going to dig through this stuff. Jeffrey. Yeah, and then here's where they start really getting into initials, right? J.E. and D.D. and all these different names. Again, all this hard to read, but yeah, J.G. G.M., which is Jizmax and Epsterner, right? So they got the Jizmax and the Epsterner floating around, and then Ann and Keg came with them, not to be confused with Keck. So yeah, not a lot in here. We'll see. I don't know. People are going to comb this shit. Oh, that one's upside down. That'll mess people up. They'll fall off their chair. So it's much of the same, just all of it. So lots of pages. I pulled them all up. There you go. So that's why we're going to go through that section quickly. This, though, was kind of interesting because I think this is what it comes down to. And I've got an awesome little piece from Vince Flynn coming up here in a second, too, that he did that I think is going to add some dimension to our understanding. But here's kind of earlier on, and here's Pam Bondi talking now-ish. You'll appreciate this.
They specifically did not look at the BlackBerry backups, and they didn't look at a fraction of the emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop. So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop. In fact, I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad.
I'm assured that's it. Cash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out, this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands. And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses. But the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
So we're going to find out. And I think a lot of people were under the impression that this wasn't going to play out this way, right? We probably thought it was going to go better. Post 2816 comes into play in a funny kind of way. The declassification of all requested documents plus more will occur. This is not a game. Do not let personal emotions, desires, do it now, get down, get in the chopper, do it, take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. We all want to see equal justice under the law. New threats. Investigations by SDNY, ASMW, in an effort to delay, prevent, release, insurance extension that will fail. Transparency is the only way forward. Define the following: treason, sedition, subversion, conspiracy to commit. Do you understand and fully appreciate the gravity of the situation? Do you understand and fully appreciate what POTUS endures each and every single day? He loves this country. He loves you. We must stand together in this fight. There is evil in this world. There is darkness in this world. There are those in power who wish to control or enslave you, to keep you sedated, to keep you unaware, to keep you blind. This will be our timetable, or on our timetable. and we will deliver transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way, except one. And he said Q. The other way is, I don't even know. That's kind of an interesting, I don't remember that part of the post in the olden days. But yes, interesting way to think about it. Kash Patel posted this out from his official channel. The FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. And we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. Now, here is where General Flynn, I think, does something pretty beautiful in a reasonably long post. So, sorry you're stuck with me reading it, but soothing sounds of Dan it will be. General Mike Flynn's post, release of the Epstein files and analysis. I want to unpackage some misconceptions and offer some suggestions, from my standpoint, about the release of the Epstein files. People are getting confused, and for good reason. SDNY is the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York. I do stand by my earlier comments regarding SDNY. However, they are one among other offices that handled Epstein files. Another is the FBI's NYO, the New York office. Seeing a funny thing with Eric Adams, by the way? The New York office. Are they both hiding the documents? Guess where McCabe was before working in the FBI WDC HQ office? The NYO. Other notable NYO agents, Bill Priestip, and many more of the cabal. They need to be brought in for questioning. Guess who was in SDNY at one time or another? Comey, Bruce, Orr, and many more corrupt people. I've personally visited the NYO in the past, and while there are good and decent people inside, over the years the culture of the DOJ and Bureau has turned into a rotting decay cadaver. Trust no longer exists inside, nor does it exist between these organizations and the American people. Also, all the Epstein files should be on a system called Sentinel. Sentinel houses all documents up to and including secret files. Top secret documents are on a separate system. There need to be checks done there too. Additionally, there is something called 1A envelopes. These are physically handled, not found in a computer system, meaning this is where they commonly hide stuff. You might say there are always physical files for all investigations. True. If there are physical files, these should still be eventually scanned into the system. If not, they are in 1A envelopes, like the notes we discovered from the deceitful and crooked FBI agents that interviewed me. FBI Director Kash and AG Pam Bondi need to also look deeper into the Miami USAO, the U.S. Attorney's Office. They provided the original sweetheart deal to Epstein, and this office and the FBI's Miami field office should have files too. FBI Miami may have been directed to send everything to the NYO, though still must be checked. My assessment is the USAO in Miami could be found to be very dirty on this Epstein files release issue. Keep in mind they had jurisdiction over Epstein Island originally. We should see all the evidence collected from that search. There are former, now retired agents who work in Miami on this case. They need to be brought back to help Bondi and Kash. Neither of these two ever worked in the arena of the DOJ HQs nor the FBI's HQs. Both are bastions of progressives who are mostly anti-Trump and some are anti-American. It's clear Epstein worked on behalf of elements of the USG and that there is seriously damning evidence that will likely expose political, establishment figures, Hollywood, and other elite persons. Let's face it, the only way to get to Epstein Island was by special invite, and because you had something to offer. Bottom line, this needs to be rectified sooner than later, because the longer this lingers, the more time people have to destroy evidence. Set a tighter schedule, run it as a task force, ensure victims are not exposed, used retired or other trusted persons, whistleblowers for instance, to mentor this task force. Let's get it right. America and the world deserve the truth, and people who committed these acts against minors must be punished to the fullest extent of the law. Last piece of advice, follow the money. There will be gaps, and that's the trick. You find the gaps, you find the places where they tried to hide the money. This was Don Jr. bringing the fire to Hannity. Pretty damn awesome.
I've known him for a long time. He's never been this dialed in my view. He's never been this focused, this committed, and seemingly at peace and happy. Am I wrong in that observation?
I think you're actually 100% right, Sean. It actually took the last 4 years of abject disaster for him to figure out who his friends are, who the people who are loyal are, and for the American public to understand just how fragile this incredible experiment of America really is. We saw it disappear like that. We went from a time of peace to a time of war. We went from a time of prosperity to a time of poverty. It went away in an instant, Sean. And so now he knows who those people are. Frankly, in 2016, he didn't have that knowledge. He had to trust people from the outside to say, this guy's on your side. Turns out they weren't. They were kicking the can down the road. It was permanent Washington. We're going to wait him out, and we're going to get back to business as usual. But the last 4 years, he learned so much. He figured out who he can trust. And now he has a cabinet that is 100% in lockstep with America First policies, the things that he wants to do. They are going to actually make those things happen, not tell him what he wants to hear, and then go do the opposite inside the halls of whatever agency they work. So it was really amazing. All the Democrats had to do was not play their games in 2020. You would have had the same can kicking from 2020 till now. You'd probably end up with a Democrat president right now. But now you have the most supercharged, knowledgeable, aggressive Trump that you can possibly have. That was the mandate from the American people. Because again, they saw their American dream slip away so rapidly over the 4 years of the Biden administration that they're seeing these wins. Think about it. The same Democrats that told us you can't really do anything about the border. Border crossings are down 95%, and it's only been a month. DOJ has uncovered $100 billion in waste. $100 billion, Sean. Imagine what we could do for American people who've been suffering, or schools that are indoctrinating and not educating our children, or a broken healthcare system, or crumbling infrastructure. Think of what we can do with 4 years of these kinds of fines. Once Elon and his team get into the rest of the administration and the rest of the agencies that have just been playing games. No one actually thought that giving $5 million to Trans Elmo programs in Guatemala was great use of their funds. There's so much we can do. The possibilities are frankly endless, and he sees that. The American people see it. They finally have opened their eyes to what is possible, and we are going to unleash all of that. I just couldn't be more proud of everything that he's doing right now. It's actually glorious to watch because it means we don't just have this next 4 years to do it. We'll likely have a 12-year runway with incredible candidates. The other great thing about the last 4 years is Republicans and conservatives, and America First conservatives in particular, we finally learned to fight, Sean. It's the first time where we're actually on the offense. We're not just playing defense anymore. They're the ones playing defense, and they're in total panic. Even some of the great sort of Democrat thought leaders are like, you guys got to stop doing this, but they can't help themselves. Each and every day, they're going all in on insanity. I remember in the days after the election, people are like, who cares if you can't afford your groceries? We need to go in on XYZ issue that's totally not popular. Men playing women's sports, whatever it may be, they just can't help themselves. So it's really interesting to watch. The attacks that they're putting on towards Elon. Well, is he really pro-South Africa? Because he's only been a citizen for 22 years. I mean, imagine we said that, Sean. It would be a very different response. So they're getting their own arguments confused. They don't know where they're at. They can't keep up with the narrative. And the administration now is functioning so effectively and so efficiently that by the time the liberal media gets their narrative talking points in line, the administration is 3 or 4 issues down the road. They can never catch up. It's glorious to watch, and they continue to self-destruct.
It's powerful to appreciate the fact that we keep pinning them into the corner. We choose something that's friggin' the right choice getting men out of women's sports and a lot of the other things that we're doing right now, fixing the border, the economy, everything, right? Getting waste reduced from government, bloat reduced from government. We're choosing all the right angles. And it forces the deep state, aka everybody that's programmed, into a corner. They have to go against what we do. They have to. And for the most part, we're trying to go the opposite direction from what evil's trying to do anyway. So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But still, people are seeing this. And for a lot of normies, this is going to be the awakening thing. A lot of the people that are like, I can't wait any longer. I'm done. I'm turning my back on my fellow man. It's like, no, you're not. And here's one of, and I don't know, see, when people kept talking about how eventually it would get so bad that you would eventually wake up, right? And for every one of us, that level's different. Not everybody needs to go down to just rock bottom, lose everything you have to finally realize, all right, I should change my behavior. Some people figure it out after they lose a few things. And then they're like, all right, there seems to be a pattern here. I'm going to do something about it. But some people have to lose everything. So everybody's pain threshold, if you will, is different. But when you look at, I don't know, JFK was a good one way back when. 9/11 was another excellent example. And then, of course, as we moved on through life, we've had a lot of stuff with COVID. And then post-COVID, a lot of the stuff they've done. So there's been a lot of moments that just seem to be quickening this awakening. That's why I keep calling it the ascension. The Great Awakening is happening. People are waking up from what's going on. People that we point at and laugh right now are actually the ones that are going to be waking up here any day, and they're going to be like, oh my God, what's going on? I can't believe you've been right, but damn, and I mean, don't expect to hear that, but you might. Probably not. Don't count on it, but it might. Elon Musk issues warning about Donald Trump-backed GOP budget bill. Why is this? Posted this, had to do with Thomas Massie. Posted a GOP budget resolution that passed the House this week, increases the debt limit from $36 trillion to $40 trillion, which is actually less than they were doing, but it's still up, and spends enough dollars to increase in debt from $36 trillion to $56 trillion over the next 10 years. But yay for tax cuts. I'm the only Republican who voted no. And once again, Massie is on this thing where there's no trying to steer this giant-ass ship slowly and surely, which I feel like we're on right now. But it's we've got to immediately turn it. And I think Trump and Doge are doing everything they can to drop a bunch of spending out of the budget. And I think the second they do, they'll find better places to spend that. And that, I think, has lowered that. So I think we had a $6 trillion budget last year, or ish, around there. So this drops the spending quite a bit. But still, and I agree with what he's saying, but at the same time, he's this one guy that has the ability to always vote with the Democrats and fuck things up. And Massie guy, I don't know, buddy. He keeps doing the wrong thing, in my opinion. I don't see how he's benefiting the big picture. Again, we're trying to turn this around. I think we're trying to get strength in the Republican House. You're definitely not helping that. We'll see. Like I said, I'm enjoying the fact that a lot of people are getting kind of spun out. There's a channel. I used to be really popular over there. Apparently, I don't know if I've fallen out of grace or if people just don't like my shit or whatever the case is. But Before It's News, it's kind of a fun place to go. And they got all sorts of crazy stories. So every once in a while, I get in there and I'll listen to some of the people that I would never listen to. Very rarely listen to, let's put it that way. And that's why I was talking about 107. That's where I see that shit. And I realize because I haven't listened in months, and I realize how interesting it is that the people that back before Trump got in office and then where they're at now and what they're saying and how it's just not everybody's bad. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people that definitely that I thought were bad that I had kind of pegged in my mind have fallen in interesting waters, and so it's been fun. Not Juan. I'm not talking bad about him. I was thinking of other people, by the way, but yeah, it was just interesting, and we are seeing it play out. It's truly People are, this is like I keep saying, we're playing the long game. If you're, advice to any of you guys, even the deep state, I don't care. Being honest, which is hard to do for a lot of people, but being honest and being authentic is the best path forward if you're going to try to do any sort of political stuff or public-facing stuff, because if you're lying in any way, shape, or form, you'll forget, you'll mess up. That lie will get you. It always will get you. Just be who you are. Be truthful. Be honest. You got nothing to hide, because the answer is always what the truth is. It's much easier to remember that, isn't it? So, funny how we play. A nonprofit group has filed an ethics complaint against GOP Rep Dan Crenshaw for his little comment where he said he would kill Tucker Carlson. He downplays it. You said it, dude. You said it on a hot mic. Dude's tired. You said you would kill somebody. That's not cool. So, yeah, we should find out about it. I think it wasn't the actual government that's doing it. I don't think it was the House, though. It was filed with the House Office of Congressional Ethics, but it was filed by somebody else, the American Accountability Foundation, whoever the hell they are, but whatever, they filed it. Rep. Comer announces he's investigating the outgoing Biden administration's late-term efforts to embed political hires in the federal bureaucracy. He put a whole bunch of people in permanent jobs right at the end. Now, every single one of those people are people that the deep state wanted, and that was sort of their way of guaranteeing, like the Treasury and stuff like that you're not going to look at the files, F you. And they're being fired. And so there's some judges that are having a hard time with this, that are getting some of these cases, but no, we're not doing that. You can't, from a previous administration, especially after you realized you lost, put people into permanent power to hold back the next administration. There's no way the Founding Fathers ever agreed with that. Yes, let's take this all the way to the Supreme Court. This will be fantastic. And if you think about some of the case law we're going to have after everything's been said and done, it should be pretty powerful. Behind the scenes, GOP senators challenge legality of Trump's aid cuts. Lindsey Graham's starting to say, I don't know what's going on here. Again, this is... It's fun to see it. I knew Lindsey Graham's a pile of trash. I've been saying it forever. And Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, the three of you pieces of crap. Okay? So all you guys, that's three right there. Unfortunately, that's most of our majority. But they wrote Rubio a letter earlier this month with their Democratic colleagues that although they supported the Secretary of State's right to review federal programs and eliminate waste and abuse, they were concerned that Rubio and the State Department had not notified and consulted with Congress as it gutted USAID and canceled foreign aid programs, which they noted is required by law. They're spending the money the way they should. There's all sorts of law that's shown this being done by different branches, right? So we'll see it. It's fun. It's fun to watch it play out. It's just part of the drama. Judges ordering Trump administration to rescind a memo directing mass firing of federal workers. Again, another judge just telling the executive branch what they can and cannot do. Federal judge on Thursday ordered the Office of Personnel Management to rescind earlier instructions telling federal agencies to promptly determine whether these employees should be retained at the agency. The directions communicated in January 20th memo and February 14th internal email are illegal and should be stopped, rescinded. Judge William Alsup of the Northern District of California, of course, said from the bench. So again, saying he can't do this. It's another liberal judge trying to stop things. Again, it'll play out. Justice Department hires for court battles. They're hiring more people because they know they're going to be having all sorts of court stuff going on. So if you're somebody that's really good at certain kinds of law that'll probably come into play, you might want to throw yourself some usage over there because they need some help. They need some people. DEA's most wanted drug lord, Rafael Caro Quintero. Lo siento. He arrives in New York City to face charges after Mexico hands him over to the United States. Him and a bunch of his peeps. That's a nice picture in there. She's got a nice bathing suit. So, all said, drug cartel kingpin known as U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration's top target and a bunch of his peeps got flown from Mexico to New York City. He killed a DEA agent. He's going to be... And, he's among 29 cartel members. This is a trip to me. I feel like this is a thing where the governor of Mexico, outwardly she's saying, I hate Trump. And then in reality, she's like, no, seriously, here's one of the worst. Can you take him and his best men? And so, yeah, whatever the case is, we're importing Mexican drug lords so we can punish them. I like it, because at least they're not running around in Mexico doing whatever they want, I assume. ICE to open East Coast's largest federal immigration detention center in Newark. Newark? I don't know how you guys say that in Jersey. Newark? Newark. I don't know. I can't even pretend. I for like half a second dated a chick from Jersey when I was younger. It was like I was in high school, I think. I remember I was like 15 and she was 16, and I lied about my age so she'd go out with me because I knew there was no chance in hell. She was hot as hell. She had no chance she would go out with me if I told her I was younger than her. So I lied and said I was 16, and then she eventually found out. And you can't start a relationship on a lie, obviously, but I was not 16 yet. The location happened. It's over by the airport. It can hold 1,000 people, 1,000 beds anyway. I guess 1,000 people could sleep. Maybe they just keep the others up while the others are sleeping. You could put 3,000 in there. That sounds pretty nasty, though, doesn't it? Like the Navy. But yeah, so anyway, we'll see. That's I think, going to be part of one of the places where they're going to be shipping them out. So I think they're trying to expand the ability to get them out quickly, and they're going to use airports in cities that are being friendly. New York, or Newark, whatever, and Jersey, I guess isn't really under Adams, so I don't know what's up there, but that's pretty cool that's happening. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she said on Friday she wrote Attorney General Pam Bondi a question asking if she was under investigation for advising constituents on how to communicate with immigration officers or how to properly cheat. Literally sent that message. This is being reported by Axios. Now, Bondi never replied, because you can't talk about ongoing investigations, can you, Ocasio-Cortez? I'm just saying. Trump signs an executive order making English the official U.S. language. I'm actually shocked, one, that a law needed to be signed for, or an executive order needed to be signed for this, that a law needed to be signed for this, but yeah, I always thought it was just presumed that English was the official language, though that's changing. If you go to a lot of places where I live, you'd be like, I think Spanish is the official language here, actually. And it oftentimes is. I speak pretty shitty Spanish, but enough to get by for the most part, I sound extra stupid in Spanish, though. I do a great job sounding like an idiot in English, but trust me, in Spanish, much better. Much better. Trump says he hopes he's remembered as a peacemaker. I hope so, too.
By millions and millions of votes, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. This could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things. I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war.
I just listening to this, again, this was a different part of the same speech that we played earlier, but dang, J.D. Vance is awesome, isn't he? Like, the way he was kind of tearing into, JD's done it, like when he was speaking to Europe, which I've got a snippet of that again here in a second. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking. It's outstanding. 9 U.S. states on red alert as measles kill 1 and infect untold numbers. Now, again, this is the thing they're pushing, folks. It's highly contagious respiratory disease that spreads through airborne droplets. So they're going to get you. It's like the rhythm that's going to find you. The places involved, let's see. We got New Mexico, Georgia, California, New Jersey, Alaska, Washington State, Kentucky. Kentucky threw me off there. I don't know. But that's one case. One case. So maybe they're flying them in from weird places to try to do this. Maybe this is part of, I'm sure McConnell agreed to have some of these people flown into his state. Whatever the case is, I know we've got an immigration problem with people that don't have vaccinations for measles, mumps, rubella, the things that we've all been vaccinated for. And weirdly, and here's the thing, all but like the original reports anyway, yesterday or the day before, they were saying of all the people, there was like 30 people sick or something stupid like at that time. And no, it was 90 something. Yeah, it was quite a few. It's like 90 something. There's like 4 of them were like vaccinated, which kind of wasn't a surprise either. But it looks like for the majority, if you've been vaccinated, like you probably have been, this isn't going to affect you as much. And this might be sort of a problem that affects in a weird way. And we've talked about how numbers might thin. Not everybody's going to make it. I don't know. And I don't choose. God does. That's all I got to say. And it's on people's hearts. And I think if you're good in your heart and good in your soul, you'll get through this, whatever you're trying to do. Even if you're trying to get here illegally, if you're good in your heart and good in your soul, you'll probably be okay in the big picture somehow, however that works out. Might not be easy because it's not supposed to be, but it'll work out. It always does. Life does. When you're a good person, when you're doing your best, life always works out for you. The wellness company's awesome, and again, antivirals, one of the big things. They've got supplements, which I highly recommend. I take some. Obviously, I've been rocking kind of CD, and then of course like my Stem Active I love, and then my Coriolis Versicolor. I got to get that. Got to get that on a regular. I got the Super Beat stuff to help with blood pressure. It's really just a bunch of gummies. It's what I'm finding is rather than eating candy, I choose vitamin-filled candy and just have a few pieces throughout the day. They're delicious. I've got some calcium ones I'm working on, too. These are Caltrates. Bone and health. See? It's just gummies that I feel like are healthy. But this is actually stuff that makes a huge difference. These are, like, legit. Not like the crap I'm doing right now. I actually should look at some of this, but I don't. What I think is super cool, what I recommend, and also live by, this Contagion Kit 1. This one's got ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, this generic Tamiflu, which is oseltamivir, and of course budesonide, along with the nebulizer. Budesonide's like an upper respiratory, opens you up. Like if you had asthma, you could use that as an asthma attack, so it's good for people like that. But you got 5 vials of that too, and you got quite a few of the tabs of all the other good stuff. This is powerful, and this nebulizer is pretty cool too. If you think of it, it's like you shove the and hit the button, and like if you're just a regular schmo that didn't have asthma, it's pretty easy to use. And if you can't breathe, it'll open you up and help. And you're getting this through the help of a doctor, but it's a powerful kit. The Contagion Kit's awesome. You want to go to TWC, the wellness company, twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. All sorts of stuff they can help you with too, by the way. Bronchitis, COPD, influenza, virus A and B, inner ear infections even, lice, respiratory infections, rheumatoid arthritis, sinus infections, uncomplicated skin infections. Kind of seems like that. It's a little generic. Acne, rosacea, and of course babesiosis. Yeah, everybody knows what that is. Some of you might. This will help with all that crazy stuff. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. And this is the other one under anti-aging. First one's under med kits. They got a bunch too. They got first aid kits. They've got travel kits. I do seriously recommend all those. They have bandages. They've got antibiotics in the medical kit. Medical kit's got a whole slew of antibiotics. Very much recommend that, by the way. A whole slew. Anti-aging's one I love talking about because it's a one-stop shop. It's a 3-month supply. It is a cleanse for parasites. It's a parasite cleanse. For any of you guys that have been running around in the crazy circles, you know what parasites are, or at least what we're starting to realize parasites might be involved in. And so those of you that are in that place right now where you understand and you need a good way to cleanse, this is the way to go. It's got ivermectin, which we know works. You can just go that route too, by the way. You've got the kits and stuff that you can take. But this is kind of built to do it for a 3-month supply. You've got ivermectin and mebendazole. And those 2 things are rock stars when it comes to this parasitic kind of thing. $599 might seem like a lot, but when you think about what some of the other treatments are out there, and this is a bargain. 3-month supply. That's not that bad. It's what, $200 a month, basically, for something that is a pretty heavy-duty, hardcore cleanse. Not a bad deal. TWC.health/OTF. That's TWC.health/OTF. They've got virtual care, talk to a doctor, pharmaceutical stuff, even trying to get off pharmaceuticals. They've got virtual care, healthy living, essential oils, and all sorts. They've got some really cool stuff. Immune mist. Really cool stuff. Really just kind of go looking around. If you're interested in being healthy, this is like a one-stop shop. TWC.health/OTF. TWC.health/OTF. Make those healthy choices, and healthy shall be your life. Former Pentagon chief demand. I just make these things up, dude. You guys, anyway, I don't know if anybody appreciates. I appreciate. Oh, damn, that hurts. God, it hurts, damn. Don't do it. Former Pentagon chiefs demand congressional hearings on Trump's removal of top military leaders. I just think this is funny because the people. So it's Lloyd Austin, James Mattis, Chuck Hagel, Leon Panetta, and William Perry. There we go. Right? They all argued that this is what Trump is doing is wrong, and we think there should be an investigation from 5 people that we all fired. You've been fired. Why would we give a shit what you think? And why would Congress? I don't know. We'll find out if Congress does. They might, but Hegseth's going to be dealing with that, it seems. What did they? Oh, yeah. U.S. military is going to discharge all transgender troops, at least the ones that have the gender dysphoria issue, if you will. And I only call it an issue because there's definitely psychological aspects to it. They're certainly taking hormones to be something other than what they are. And so because of that, that actually creates a problem within the ranks, not from a sexual standpoint, but from a standpoint of we've got somebody that if you're out in the middle of somewhere and you suddenly run out of medication, then you freak out and go running off towards the enemy, with your eyeliner, giant eyelashes, whatever, flaring at them, trying to, I don't know. That's all I had. This was Ersturmer or whatever the hell. Kersturmer. Sounds so not Jewish, German to me, right? Like, care. Like, it's like Heil. I don't know what it is. For whatever, care just feels like that to me. And I'm sure that's like everybody's a care or out there in England, right? I'm sure everybody's like, care. No, there's I have 4 cares that live down the street from me, and there's a couple cares over next door. When they're young, you call them Care Bears. No, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, Starmer, I don't like him. Do I want to play this? King Charles. Yeah, he's going to be visiting. This is actually kind of cool. This is where Trump opens up the letter from Charles. And he says some nice stuff about him, which I thought was strange. So, and he's like all buddy with, I don't know. It's like we want to be friends with England or something. So, all right, I guess. I'm totally teasing to my mates across the way.
And it is my pleasure to bring from His Majesty the King a letter. He sends his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King to you?
Thank you very much. Am I supposed to read it right now?
Yeah, please do.
I will do.
I've got to tell him what your reaction is, so I need to know.
He is a great gentleman, a great gentleman. Oh, that's well. Well, that is really nice. I must make sure his signature's on that. Otherwise, it's not quite as meaningful. It is, and that's quite a signature, isn't it? Beautiful. He's a beautiful man, a wonderful man, and we appreciate it. I've gotten to know him very well, actually. Yeah. First term and now second term. Perhaps you'd like to say what that very important paragraph.
Yes, so this is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. And I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us. So this is a very special letter. I think the last state visit was a tremendous success.
It was.
His Majesty the King wants to make this even better than that. So this is This is truly historic, an unprecedented second
That's a
state
great-
visit, and he
great
wants
honor.
to talk that through with you.
And that says at Windsor. That's
Yes.
really something.
Yes, what I haven't got yet is your answer. I do need to.
The answer is yes. On behalf of our wonderful First Lady, Melania, and myself, the answer is yes, and we look forward to being there and honoring the King and honoring really your country. Your country is a fantastic country, and it'll be our honor to be there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. I shall happily take that back to His Majesty.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to keep that one.
You're going to keep that one.
Now, he did smile there, so you can at least tell when Brits are happy, right? Sometimes, unless they're telling a joke, and then it's dry, and you're like, what was that? Was he being funny? I don't know. He was in fact being funny? Okay. Okay. I'm being told from the room. Trump says he is likely to accept UK deal on the Chagos Islands. Sounds like that mushroom Cliff High talks about all the time. Was it Chago? Whatever it is. But the Chagos Islands, I'm not even going to try to say these dudes' names. Mauritius? Okay, I guess I'll try to say it, but I don't think that's correct. Whatever the case is, the native people that should own the Chagos Islands are going to take that. The only reason I really brought this up, because for what most of us realize the Chagos Islands for, is a base that just got is going to get a 99-year extension that we'll continue to have, and that's called Diego Garcia. And many suggest or think that Diego Garcia is most likely one of the most secret bases in the world. Obviously, satellites fly over it all the damn time, so yeah, there's all sorts of stuff we've heard over there, and many suspect that some of the missing planes from the past very likely might have ended up over there. That's at least the Malaysia ones. Those ones likely because they're pretty close to that part of the world. So I want to say roughly south of India-ish, around there. Again, geography is not my strong suit. Many things aren't, frankly. Hamas ready to cede control of Gaza, officials say. They're going to give it up, but they said there's got to be like a Palestinian like thing instead. So that's almost likely not going to happen. And then on top of all that, President Trump has rolled back his constraints on American commanders to authorize airstrikes and special operation raids outside conventional battlefields, broadening the range of people who can be targeted, according to U.S. officials with knowledge of the policy shift. The quiet but seismic recalibration dismantles Biden-era mandates and signals a return to more aggressive counterterrorism policies Trump first instituted in his first term. The thing that pops into my mind is the missile. I want to say it was a Maverick. The AGM, 65, 85, 65, one of those guys. But it had like blades that pop out. And it was essentially a glide bomb. It was propelled, I think, at first, and then it just went silent. No more rocket. There's no coming out, nothing happening. Had fins, I think. But it was so precise that they literally, if there's someone driving in a car, they'd say which side of the car and whether it was the back seat, passenger side, or whatever, and it would hit with that level of accuracy. And these blades just came out and it was a kinetic weapon, and it went right through the car or whatever it was, and it didn't kill the other people, only the intended target. And so I think that's being opened up to, terrorists around the world, and probably cartel members and others. Israel's going to resume the war in Gaza and eradicate Hamas, cutting off aid and bombarding a strip with troops. This is alleged sources in Israel, and I don't know how leaks work over there. This site didn't have a whole lot of stories, and the few that it did have seemed to be generally in the direction of our side, but whatever the case might be, their discussions suggest that Israel's planning within like a month's time to send in a huge blitzkrieg of people, tanks and everything into the Gaza area and literally clean it out once and for all. Like they've already told everybody GTFO, right? Like get out now. And if you haven't already, get out one more time. And literally, if we find you, you will be killed. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is an interesting, weird escalation. Obviously, Trump's kind of playing into that too. So again, are we taking out very specific targets? I'm hoping. Again, they're going to turn Gaza into this beautiful thing that the whole world can appreciate, which is good because it's been a war zone forever. And so we're finally going to turn a negative karma, negative energy place into a positive energy place, which is really, honestly, truly what Trump is doing. And he knows it. That's what this is. It's an energy shift. It's a healing of this area. COVID vaccine syndrome has destroyed our lives, suspected victims, in their own haunting words. They've been left to rot. There's been some studies done, and they're starting to show some very interesting information regarding this post-vaccination syndrome that's persisting for years, they're finding in these studies. They're going to continue to study it, of course. There's a lot of places. I think this one is in Britain that had to do with the Pfizer and Moderna specifically, those two vaccines. But people talking about brain fog, insomnia, tinnitus, palpitations, stuff along those lines. And it seems to be this strange change that occurred post the shot, at least, best they can tell. And it seems to be extending well past the time frames that many were led to believe. And again, I think RFK Jr. is going to be a huge proponent in trying to at least look at some legitimate studies. I think this might be some of them coming forward and getting some attention, which is cool. Verizon became latest company to face probe by the FCC boss. I think they're suspecting it's over DEI. They certainly have a problem with that. Verizon was trying to buy another communications company, and Frontier Communications. And it's a $9.6 billion deal. And right now the FCC is like, you seem to be really into the DEI stuff. And President Trump's got a very specific rule saying no dice on that. Now, we do know that Apple just recently, their board voted to keep that process going. But let's be honest, they don't make their products in the United States. So almost doesn't matter. But they're talking about wanting to change that. And my guess would be any company that makes stuff here in the United States or exists solely here in the United States or mostly here in the United States, doing business here in the United States, then you kind of got to follow the laws of the United States. And if you're doing a bunch of DEI stuff and that's how you're hiring people, well, then you're going against federal law in your hiring practices. And unfortunately, that can't be allowed. I understand how you feel about it, kind of, but you can't do it. Sorry. Maybe they won't get the $9.6 billion deal. We'll see. Verizon is still promoting DEI, FCC commissioner said. This is the article or the thing he wrote out to them, basically saying exactly that. I am going to not bore any of us with reading that. Also interesting, I don't know if you guys remember Skype. There was a fun product back in the day. It basically became Teams, but there was still Skype stuff out there, I think, floating around because they kind of had to support it because so many old school applications or people that couldn't upgrade or, whatever. They're, had old operating systems probably still running on like Windows, 3, 3.1. You type in the DOS prompt, you type win and open it up. Of course, joking, sort of. Yes, this was, Skype's gone. It's done. End of it. Bye-bye. It's gotten totally absorbed. They more or less shut it off. I think they're keeping like the accounts active or whatever. I don't know if they're trying to absorb them within Teams or how they're doing that. But they, hundreds of millions of people already use Teams as their hub framework. So he's basically just saying you kind of got to make a Teams account. Sorry, we'll give you a free app, but yeah, you're not using Skype anymore. Skype has gone bye-bye. From Epstein to Diddy, apparently, spotlight shines on James Comey's prosecutor's daughter. She has joined the people against Diddy. She's not helping Diddy. She's going against Diddy. And it's interesting. This is Comey's daughter, James Comey, the one we love so much from the whole Hillary Clinton scandal and all that good stuff. And Obama, I think, right? Yeah, it was Obama. He's a pile of trash, and his daughter's involved with the ones persecuting Diddy. It's tripping me out. Diddy, I don't think he's a good guy at all. That's for sure. We're finding out that a lot of people are going to show up. Celebrities are going to show up on this list. This is probably tying into the Epstein stuff for sure. But they're talking, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher literally admitted publicly that he was dating Mila, whatever her name was, when she was underage. So he was banging her when he definitely committed it, but that one's close. At least she's over that 16 or 15. She was right around there. We got Usher, Kanye West, supposedly, and Pharrell Williams all a bunch of people that are pretty successful in the big world, if you think about it, and obviously got tired of it. I don't know about Pharrell. Ashton Kutcher's tries to seem to keep himself good. Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, is just, he's demonstrated it over and over. Done some great movies, but he always kind of plays a dick. Bill and Hillary Clinton on there, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. Interesting. Oh, I think the Trump stuff keeps showing up, not for Jay-Z parties. And again, there's questions, too, as to whether or not they've gone to the, the freak parties or whatever they are, whatever they call those. I was never invited, like that wonderful stand-up from Chappelle. He's like, that's when you find out that all your friends think you're ugly. Senator Cory Booker was there. Supposedly Andrew Cuomo, Al Sharpton. A lot of names are popping up. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot of information that's going to come. There's going to be a lot of speculation leading up to it. Give it time. Let it play out. We'll get there. Got a great music show coming up here shortly, at least as far as my terms. A little under 3 hours. I'll be going live. Working on getting this video uploaded in the process so some of you guys can watch it before I go live. And there's actually people that are like, Dan, come on, buddy. I like to watch it right before and then in music, and I get like a whole bunch of Dan. So I love that. That's pretty awesome. So I'm trying to help. Love you guys. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to do a show tomorrow. I think I should anyways. We'll see. But yeah, that's the plan. It shouldn't be that much news usually. Kind of a reasonable day. And then, just a chance to kind of try to make up for missing Wednesday. I just feel bad. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I missed something when I'm not doing my everyday, but I had such a good time, so it was worth it. We're going to keep doing it, like I said, together. You guys are the ripple makers. It's really you that are making the huge difference. You make a huge difference out there. Thank you guys for doing this with me, shoulder to shoulder. We're going to keep moving forward, and you will be amazed at this golden era that is just before us. Stay strong. Keep your head on a swivel. We'll get through this. Keep your heart in the right place, and don't let them get you emotionally. That's how it's always going to happen. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.